All right, everybody. You all know I love it when bad things happen to bad people. And you know what just happened to Andrew Tate? And his supporters, I should say, as well. His scam pyramid scheme, Hustlers University, was hacked. And the data of hundreds of thousands of users on the site, hundreds of thousands of students on the site, have been leaked. I could not make up a funnier scenario. Besides maybe, like, all their data leaking and it turning out that they're all into, like, trans porn or something. That maybe would be, like, a cherry on top of this situation. Besides that, man, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm laughing internally right now. I've got a video here I was recommended by a channel called No Text-to-Speech. Good name, by the way, because the channel does not seem to use text-to-speech. Called The Andrew Tate Hack is Worse Than You Think. So apparently, I don't know much about this whole situation. I'm going in blind here. I'm excited to find out what's going on, because I really love when karmic justice happens to bad people, and Andrew Tate fans are some of the worst people out there, and they could definitely use some karma catching up with them. Let's check this out.
Andrew Tate's online university called The Real World just got hacked, with 325,000 emails and all their public and private chat logs being leaked. But all these news articles that are covering this are missing two very important...
Who hacked them? Do we know who hacked them? Who did it? I'm sure we're gonna find out. Was it like anonymous or something? Some like OGs or something?
Important things. The first thing is that they don't even have an account to look into the real world because they aren't stupid like me. But the second thing is that I don't think anyone realizes that this hack is way bigger than you think. Now, just to get everyone caught up to speed, if you don't know what the real world is, it's fundamentally a Discord clone. You have channels and you can chat in them. There's a currency system that's a little bit different, but instead of servers, you have campuses. And then in the top left, you have a courses tab where you can go through and watch videos to learn, in my opinion, very fundamental garbage that you shouldn't have to pay $50 a month for. Because keep in mind, to join the real world, to go on Andrew Tate's Discord clone, you need to spend $50 a month. Every single person that is on this platform is spending $50 a month. And if it wasn't...
Or more, let's be real. These Andrew Tate fans, they worship that motherfucker. They're not just paying the minimum to get access to his stuff. They're dropping, in some cases, the maximum that they can because they love him. Zan, what's this channel called again? No text-to-speech.
Obvious, most of the people in here are hustle culture bros that think they're better than everyone else, and I cover all this in a previous video. But in terms of this video, I want to focus specifically on the important stuff.
For those confused about the name, why it's called The Real World, it's the counter to The Matrix. Because the real world is The Matrix, but the little Discord thing he's made is the real world.
The hack. And the first question that everyone has about the hack is, how was the real world vulnerable? How did people figure out how to hack it? And here's the thing, back in my previous video where
lefty hacktivists got him. Oh, it wasn't even like just some random big hacker group. It was a lefty hacker group. That's cool.
I talked about Andrew Tate's Discord clone. When I was looking through their API, I noticed their backends and how everything is set up, their code might have been stolen from an open source Discord clone called Revolt. And if you look in the pinned comments of this video, it actually turns out that the creator of...
Is that stealing then? Because if it's open source, then I think you just said that doesn't mean it's stealing. I think that's a little bit of the wrong tree to bark up when we're considering the fact that, you know, Andrew Tate's entire model is centered around a pyramid scheme and pushing hate in order to make money. I'm pretty sure it's open source, right?
Of Revolt, the owner actually made his own article talking about how Andrew Tate's The Real World is stealing his software. And the thing is...
Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's not open source. Open source doesn't mean it's like on the internet. Open source means it's available for use on people's own software. Like they can take code, they can take the whole of it and modify it for their own needs. So it wasn't open source. It was just available to rip, and he did.
Is that when you steal someone's software, you also steal all of the old vulnerabilities.
You have to credit? Did he not credit at all? Yeah, that would make sense. Andrew Tate wouldn't have credited in any way.
Vulnerabilities associated with it, because in the video that I showed, it was using an old version of Revolt. And well, it didn't take long for people to take advantage of those vulnerabilities, because on November 21st, 2024, the Daily Dot posted an article saying hackers breach Andrew Tate's online university. Now, just to understand this hack a lot better, there are two main components of it. The first component is the leaked data, and that's going to have the most impact, but then there's also the second part of the hack where the hackers actually went into the real world and started raiding it and causing a whole bunch of havoc.
Okay, these are the hackers posting this, not... I was gonna say, if these were leaked images from the Discord and it was all, like, trans posting, it would be hilarious how close to right I was about what I said at the opening about the only thing that could make this better. Please tell me they were passing around a shitload of, like, trans porn or something. We know Andrew Tate's preferences. Come on, come on, come on! Please, it would be so funny. It would be so funny. They talk so much shit.
And in the article, they specifically say that the real-world security was described as hilariously insecure, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. And I want to start off with the raid on the real world, because again, I had an account while this was happening. So during one of Andrew Tate's live streams where he pumps crypto coins, yells at the camera, the hackers started their operation in raiding the real world and causing a whole bunch of havoc. So the first thing that the hackers could do on the real world is pretty obvious. They could upload emojis, and the emojis that they uploaded were trans flags. There was Tate with big booty cheeks. There were AI images of Andrew Tate with a rainbow flag because he is very misogynistic and homophobic, which also gives you a pretty good indication why this hack happened. It was more for hacktivism, not to try and make money. But then also there were emojis that were posted that would spell out words. For example, there's this one here that says Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate is a cute gay gooner. Tate is a cutie patootie patootie. Then a blow high. I don't know what flag this is. And a feminism fist. And I think they should have just stopped at Andrew Tate is a cute gay gooner. I think if they just stopped there, that would have been it. I love this, but listen, lefties need to get better at comedy. You did too much here. This is where it could have ended. Just turning Andrew Tate is a cute gay gooner into a meme. That's all you needed, dude. That's all you needed.
Tate is a cute gay gooner. There were more emojis posted that said Tate is a cutie patootie patootie. And finally, there were more emojis uploaded that said Tate loves kissing femboys. During the peak of the hack, if you...
Okay, maybe that was the entire thing, and that was just two of them put together. All right, never mind. They cooked.
You close your emoji picker and you open it back up, there would be 10 new emojis every single second. And by the way, these emojis were visible everywhere across the real world. You didn't just have to be on one specific server, it was visible everywhere, and people started noticing. Now the question everyone is asking is, how did they manage to pull this off? And remember how they said everything was hilariously insecure?
The dude with the fucking Keanu Reeves PFP complaining about it. Oh, it's so good.
What they basically did is they opened up their Chrome console and they typed in a command that is almost equivalent to God mode equals 1. And when they entered in the command, they were able to go to the server settings of any server and upload an emoji. There were no checks to make sure if you were admin or anything, anyone could upload an emoji. But let's move on to the second thing that these hackers did, which is a little bit more destructive than showing a whole bunch of homophobic people gay pride. The second thing these hackers could do is they could time out or mute anyone in chat. Because remember that magical God mode equals 1 command? I'm not telling you the exact command because I don't want to get in any legal trouble. But it turns out when you enable this command, you could click on anyone's profile and you would have a little menu at the bottom that would allow you to ban and cancel someone's membership and kick someone. However,
so what I need you guys to understand is this is probably a very easy thing to do to most conservative, like, grift media sites. These projects are all quick cash grab oh my god, I can't speak because I have to burp. All these programs are cheap cash grab grifts, and there's not a lot of, like, even these millionaires are not putting a lot of money into creating a secure website for their grift, right? Like, this is all meant to implode at any moment, and they're all just trying to get every penny they can before it does. That's the expectation for people like this, I have to assume. And so I don't think there was ever an intent to make the site secure, and I think that's probably true of a lot of these right-wing media sites, and I hope that more hacktivist groups start prodding at them in the future, because I really feel like these conservative pundits who are all about just lining their own pockets, like, their websites cannot be that secure. They can't be. It's impossible. This is a great example of how likely it is that they're not.
Both banning and kicking people were properly secured. It would actually check to see if you were, like, someone who had staff privileges. But you know that timeout button? Those rules didn't apply. It turns out you could time out anyone. They managed to time out Andrew Tate on his own account. And there's this dude here, which we can see. It says, verified real-world staff account. This is a staff member, and he was timed out. Now, the thing I want to point out is that in some of the screenshots that I received, in the timeout menu, you can pick a time. And there's this 30-day time, which is highlighted in red. And when you hover over it, it says, timing out someone for 30 days is effectively banning someone. But it's an alternative to banning someone, which means it doesn't cancel your subscription like the ban and cancel membership button does. So you're basically banned, but you're still paying your subscription. That's a little fucked. But
how about that?
something that wasn't talked about in any article is that the third vulnerability that these hackers could do is they could create any group chat. Now, I'm going to assume none of you know, but in the real world, you need to earn coins to exchange for power-ups. And specifically, there's a power-up that you can purchase called direct messages. Now, to unlock direct messages, you need to be logged in for 9.
You need to earn direct messages. What a great app.
90 days, which means at the very least, you would need to spend 3 months worth of subscription to the real world, which is $150, just to DM people on the stupid platform. But what the hackers could do is they could add anyone to a group chat. They didn't even need to spend $150. So theoretically, they could go on a group chat with Andrew Tate and show how much of a fan they are by saying how they want to kiss Andrew Tate on the mouth while rubbing his shiny head like a genie lamp. But the fourth thing that they
So yeah, when we talk about why conservative pundits are so wealthy, it's because these are their supporters. Like, dudes who sit all day buying and selling, like, crypto coins and pump and dumps, making, like, tens of thousands, admittedly. A lot of them are making money because they're in, like, the private communities that know when to pump and when to dump. And so they're making a shitload of money, and a lot of that is being paid back to Andrew Tate. He's basically created an army of crypto investor bots where at least some of their funds are always going to come back to him in the end because they want to say subscribe to the real world.
These hackers could do is they could crash people on the real world. What they would do is they would use the real world's API to send a message. It looks like a normal message, but inside of the message content is all malformed and messed up. And what would happen is that if you view...
Yeah, it's called a zip bomb, guys. They're really funny. I've got friends that love to just send each other zip bombs, like to crash each other's PCs for fun. Yeah, be careful with that shit. Yeah, basically, imagine like compressed data that once decompressed just instantly crashes your program or computer. Nah, it's a Unicode bomb. Okay, was that what this was instead of a zip bomb? I figured it was like a sent zip bomb that decompressed on people's client the second it got like received and just crashed everybody's client. That'd be funny as fuck.
Viewed that message, your client would just crash. It would give you a blank screen and you wouldn't be able to use the real world until you went to a different channel on a different device. Now, the final thing that these hackers did, which is the most important part of the hack, is that they were able to view messages both in every single public channel, which really isn't anything important. If you have an account, you can just view all the channels.
Actually, yes. Ride the rails. This is very similar to chunk or book banning someone on 2B2T in Minecraft.
Normally, but they could also view the messages inside of private channels. Now, I'm going to do my best to try and explain on a surface level what's going on, but remember how they said things were hilariously insecure? What these hackers would do is they would get the server ID of the server that they're on, and to get that, you just look inside the URL bar. It's that easy. And using the server ID, they could make a request to the real world servers where it would list all of the channels inside of the server, all the public channels and all of the private channels. It would list the channel's ID.
Didn't this happen to Discord too, funnily enough? I remember this was like a thing that happened to Discord once, if I'm not mistaken. I remember people were panicking about this, and it was like, what do y'all have to hide on your Discord servers that you're afraid of them being publicly findable? I guess I get the idea of your privacy being broken is kind of fucked, but it was just so bizarre how like the entire internet panicked about this. It's like, what do you have that people want to see? I don't know.
Which is this chunk of text up here. Now, using both the server ID and the channel ID, you could send a request to the real world servers to get the messages inside of that specific channel. It didn't matter if it was a private channel, you were just given access to the messages. No security checks, hilariously insecure. And that was the most important thing that these hackers did, because with all of that data, they published it. Because according to a tweet by VX Underground, they noted that the content of the data breach was given to a nonprofit organization, DDoS Secrets, and is available for anyone to review. And just to give you a scale on how much information are in these data leaks, it is actually ginormous. So just to give you a frame of reference, to download all of the leaked data from Andrew Tate's The Real World, it is
14.10 gigabytes. That is 5 times bigger, almost 5 times larger than classic WoW, for reference, by the way. Just to give you guys like a little perspective on how much data that is nearly 3 times the total data of the download and install of vanilla classic World of Warcraft on your PC.
14.1 gigabytes. 14 gigabytes of just raw text files. There is so much information in these leaks, it's actually nuts. There's 221 public and 395 private chat channels. Apparently they generate $5.6 million a month. Christ. But inside of the contents of these leaks, if you want to look further into it, there's both private channels.
It's almost entirely text files too, so it's like an absurd amount of data. Because it's not even mostly images that are like kind of inflating it a bit. It's text.
Channels and public channels, and inside of the private channels, you have the private channels of each one of the campuses or the servers, and all of this is hosted on the clear internet. You don't need to go on the dark web. It's just available for anyone on the internet to sift through. It is a treasure trove of information that is going to have way bigger consequences than you think. And just to give you an example on how big the consequences of this data...
I wonder if this is going to end up helping the case against him. for the sex trafficking and rape.
Breaches. I'm going to give you a couple of examples that are, I want to say probably, but 100% this is going to occur. It's just inevitable. But the first thing is that according to Have I Been Pwned, which is a website that shows you if your information has been exposed in a data breach, in the Andrew Tate data breach, they added 324,000 email addresses. If you are someone that wants to scam someone, this is basically 324,000 potential victims that you can scam. These.
You know what's great about it too? It's going to be such giga karma because they're all falling for a scam. These are hundreds of thousands of people who fell for Andrew Tate's scam. So when they receive a scam email or a scam tweet or something like that, they're way more likely than the average person to actually fall for it and end up getting scammed even more. They're excellent marks. That's a good way of putting it, Princess Kristinoke. So these leaked, I wouldn't be surprised if those leaked emails are going to be like a golden treasure trove for the scamming community online. Like, just a free list of extremely, probably well-off and easy targets.
These are the same people that spent $50 to go on an Andrew Tate chat platform. And these people are also probably interested in cryptocurrency like Andrew Tate, which means they are prime targets to be scammed in cryptocurrency scams. But that's just the tip of...
Dude, I've never watched this YouTuber before. Highly recommend you go check him out. This dude is thinking the same shit that I'm thinking. I always love that. It always tells me this creator's on my wavelength. You know, I highly recommend you check out this channel. No text-to-speech. Good video.
Of the iceberg, because Andrew Tate has something called the War Room, which are a whole bunch of dudes that meet up with Andrew Tate and stuff, but you can see from these pictures that all their faces are blurred out. And the reason why these faces are blurred out is because to get into Andrew Tate's War Room, you need to spend $8,000, which...
Once again, when I tell you, it's not that just that these guys are losers giving Andrew Tate all their money. These guys are wealthy. These guys are wealthy and in some cases powerful people. When, you imagine being able to afford to pay this for anything. Like, imagine if you had a fucking rent bill come in that was this expensive. Would you be able to pay it? I don't know if I would, because holy shit. Like, these are people who have this much money set aside to pay for joining the War Room with Andrew Tate.
Which means that everyone in these photos that have their face blurred, they are rich enough to spend $8,000 to hang out with Andrew Tate. If these people's faces weren't blurred and you were a scammer, this would be a treasure trove of people that you could try to phish and scam, extort, sim swap, anything. But a viewer of mine dug through all of these data leaks and they actually found a link to a Google Drive containing the raw videos of these War Room meetups. Raw videos as in these people's faces are unblurred and just visible to the public. The people in the War Room would do Zoom calls with each other talking about life, and in the video on the side you could see people's names in the call list. So you have a name, you have a face. That is already plenty for you to work from if you're trying to scam people out of money, and especially these guys because they are clearly well off. And things get even worse because if you figure out your target's username, you can go through all of these data leaks.
Karma is karma.
And find every single message that they have ever sent, and you can stalk them. And the issue with people on the real world is that since they paid $50, they feel like they're part of this community, and they get a little too personal. Here's a message that I found just today that someone took from their balcony. You could figure out where this dude lives if you're good at geoguessing, and he's dumb enough to spend $50 a month on Andrew Tate's course. He probably has some cryptocurrency money, and now you know where he lives. You can extort him for money that...
What do you mean, dude? I gave Andrew Tate $50. What do you mean I shouldn't post pictures of my house here? It's not secure? But the only way to see this is if you pay $50. You got to be a real Andrew Tate fan to get in here. What do you mean I can't trust my God King top G Andrew Tate? He would never fuck me over.
That he clearly has. And if your email is part of the data breach, you're basically cooked. Now, I do want to clarify because I don't think people have understood this yet, but the emails that are in this data breach specifically were found in a private log channel. In one of the private channels in the real world, they would log when people get banned. So it would say this person got banned, it would show their email, and it would show a ban reason. And who would have guessed it, but the people on the real world that are moderators are exactly like Reddit mods, because there were people that were banned for talking bad about the real world on Twitter. But most of the bans in that log channel that included those emails are from people that would get automatically banned. Because if you cancel your subscription, then you would get banned from the real world, and then your email would get sent, and now that email is in a data breach. But again, like I said, there is 12 gigabytes of just raw...
I wonder if that was purposeful, that they would have, like, the data of people who decided to stop paying Andrew Tate's, like, stuff as available as possible if there was ever a data breach, just gathered up and kept in a database.
Text data. Since there's so much data there, it's going to take a lot of time for these journalists to dig deep into this data and find out bigger and bigger story expose pieces. But in the future,
by the way, Free speech, am I right?
Actually have law enforcement or crypto investigators like CoffeeZilla or ZachXBT analyzing this data breach. And remember, they have the chat logs of almost every single channel inside of the real world. But if Andrew Tate is setting up an illegal crypto operation or sent a message orchestrating pump and dumps to help his most devoted fans make money, all of those will be hidden somewhere in that private chat logs. If I was Andrew Tate, or if I was anyone in the real world, I would be very, very worried right now. And that's where we get to Andrew Tate's response on the matter. Because on Twitter, Andrew Tate he just straight up downplayed everything. He made a tweet saying, "We hacked his school and saw the chat."
That nothing bad has happened. All charges dropped. He's completely fine, and it's just the Matrix going after him, and he will win. You keep giving him money because he will win.
Of his 800,000 members. The chats are public. You literally just bought a membership and logged in and read the rooms, call that a hack, and then he just goes on a complete rant. I, as someone who has a real world subscription for only 1 month because I'm not paying $50 again, that, but I'm only able to access public channels, not private ones, and those private channels are included in the data breach. So this tweet is completely downplaying everything. But here's the thing, Andrew Tate also made a second public comment talking about this hack, because on November 23rd at 7:52 a.m., he made an announcement saying, "Fake news alert at students, the real world has never lost name."
Can't get into drama if you live in a post-truth world. Whatever Andrew Tate says is the truth. There can be no scandals because Andrew Tate says there isn't one. It's all made up. Your data's fine, guys. Keep giving me money. Stay on the site. Don't worry about it. It's the Matrix. They're trying to trick you.
Names, addresses, credit card details, or any personal private data in its history. We got Matrix attacked, and some nerds played with our new custom emoji functionality. The chats inside the real world are public to any paying member, but that's obvious. How is that a hack? Again, the same argument he made in his tweet, which is just outright incorrect. However, there's an even bigger hack that everyone missed, because according to a news article by Cybernews, Andrew Tate's The Real World exposes 22 million user messages, and this was back in July 1st, 2024. Turns out the real world's MongoDB database was just not secure. Whoops, that just happened. And the information included were people's user IDs, their email, and that's for every single person in the real world. It would also show the password reset token for every single account. If you knew Andrew Tate's user ID, which you can easily find, or if you knew Andrew Tate's email, which again is public, you could look for his account, get his password reset token, reset his password to something, and you could take control of his account and, I don't know, promote a scam cryptocurrency, scam a whole bunch of people. You could delete everything. Things could have been much worse. However, this exploit was then fixed because all they had to do was just set a password on the thing. Now, going back to Andrew Tate's post on The Real World talking about the actual data breach, he says the real world is secure. And, well, is it? It does seem like they fixed a couple of issues. They for sure fixed the emoji upload, so no more gay pride parades on Andrew Tate's The Real World, so I'm quite disappointed. But it also seems like they patched the
Damn, dude. What? Damn, they escaped the boy kisser rebellion.
Ability that allows people to view the messages inside of private channels. In my opinion, this is not really an accomplishment, because remember, it was quoted that the platform is hilariously insecure. There are going to be a bunch of people that are going to poke and pry at this platform and try to find other problems. If you are someone that is thinking about poking and prodding into the real world, I just want to give you a massive heads up. But I was contacted by one of my viewers, but what they did is they reported a bug to the real world, which allowed you to go into the real world without paying $50 a month. And when my viewer reported that bug, two important things happened. The first thing is that they were promised a bug bounty. They were promised money for disclosing this bug responsibly and not abusing it and giving people a whole bunch of free The Real World accounts. A month later, Andrew Tate's goons just completely ghosted him and deleted all of their chats. So he didn't get paid. And the second thing that they did is that they didn't even fix the bug that the guy reported. So with all that combined together, I genuinely, if you are on The Real World, I would not listen to Andrew Tate downplaying the situation and calling it fake news. But most of the...
Listen, that is literally Andrew Tate's go-to method. For those that don't know, there was some, like, very minor clerical error made in the prosecution's case, one of the prosecution's cases against Andrew Tate for the sex trafficking of minors and all that. And it's, like, a very basic thing, like, reword something in the paperwork and you're good. And, of course, like, the judge, you know, asked that be done. And so, of course, when any road bump whatsoever is made and the prosecution's, goal of imprisoning Andrew Tate, Tate and his fans blow it up as like, charges are all dropped, Andrew Tate is free. So it's like, for the 500th time now, supposedly all the charges have been dropped and Andrew Tate is free. That has never been the case. Not when he was let off of house arrest or put on house arrest and let out of jail. That was literally just due to the holding laws in Romania. Like, any time something like that happens, he comes out to say, all charges dropped, see, I'm innocent, they could never have held me, but then it's right back to claiming victim because the charges were never dropped. Like, it's just the Matrix, guys. It's just the Matrix. You can't trust your eyes or reality or the government or the police or the news or anything. It's all the Matrix. Trust nothing but the right-wing influencer with no accountability and give him money. That's the message of Andrew Tate's entire movement. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, found it, educational, enjoyable, or entertaining, then please consider leaving a like, subscribe, and ring the bell icon, and comment down below. It really does help a ton. Helps to enforce the fact that YouTube will push my content in the algorithm and get it out to more people. Hell, you can comment anything that you like, even if it's something silly, like, who up Xandering they haul? And then if you want to reply to that, you could just say, OMG me. And of course, if you want to see more from me on other platforms, make sure you follow my social medias, linked down below, especially my Blue Sky account I've started to get more active on, as that is like the new Twitter now. And don't forget to join my fan Discord. It's totally free to join. It's the main hub of my community and fan base, and I also announce all my new uploads and streams there, so make sure that you guys hop in and get on in there before, you miss... Tomorrow I'm doing a watch party, so make sure you join for that, in fact. But yeah... if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then consider subscribing, gifting a sub, or donating on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some merch, the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support my channel, though, thank you so much for watching as always, and I hope you have a good one.